Hello, welcome back to the channel, and this is a channel where we give you reviews, maybe do a few playthroughs, don't do unboxings. We generally like to talk a lot of bollocks, tabletop gaming in general, and in this video we're going to be talking about a skirmish game. We're going to be talking about Monster Hunter World, was it the Ancient Forest? And in this game you will be running around a map trying to kill a monster. You'll be doing a little bit of choose your own adventure shit in a campaign manual, working right through that campaign that will hopefully allow you to win this game. So in this video we're going to be giving you a very brief overview of the rules, be telling you what we do like, what we don't like, then we'll come back and we'll tell you whether or not Monster Hunter World, the board game, is worth your time and bother today and in the future. So remember, if you're new here, please consider subscribing to this channel, hit the like button and all that YouTube bullshit. See you after this. Bollocks. So, Monster Hunter World, how do you play this game? So Monster Hunter World is a skirmish game in the vein of other games such as Dark Souls and all that sort of stuff, yeah? Difference being with this one is you've got a bit of a campaign element where you're going to have a choose your own adventure style segment before you actually get into the skirmish element of the game, right? Each player is going to choose a character. You're going to get a player board. You're going to get some armor, starting weapons, all that sort of stuff. You're going to get attack cards. And if you're playing with 1 to 2 players, you're going to get some familiars that are called palicos in this game. Yeah, they're like sort of animal creatures that are going to take the place of the 3rd and 4th player. So once you have set up your character, then you'll choose one of the quests out of the book, right? In a quest, you will hunt down a monster, you will attack it, and then hopefully you'll defeat it, yeah? There's 2 types of quests in this game. You've got assigned quests and investigation quests. Assigned quests introduce you to new monsters that you ain't fought before, and investigation quests mean that you've got to fight a monster that you've already had a scrap with, right? So the first phase of this game is the gathering phase. Dependent on what monster you want to fight, you'll turn to those pages connected to that monster in the quest book and you'll read aloud the text for the adventure starting point, right? You'll be given different options to take during the gathering phase, and this is where you'll be collecting different resources that will help you to fight the monster, yeah? Once you have located the monster through the quest book, then you'll figure out its scoutify level. You'll flip all of the tokens in the pool and then you'll consult the quest scoutify level in the quest book, right? And this will influence the behavior of the monster in question. So once you're done with that bullshit, then you'll move on to the meat and potatoes of this game, where you'll have a hunter turn and then you'll have a monster turn, and then you'll check to see if the quest is complete. So the first thing you're going to do on a monster turn is you're going to draw a monster behavior card and you will resolve it. The monster will target either the closest enemy or it will target the furthest enemy away from it. It will move depending on the move icon. You've got to remember, you need to orient the card so that north is facing the direction that the monster's facing, yeah, because otherwise you're going to fuck it up. Each monster's got a dodge value. This will indicate the amount of cards you've got to place face down on your player board to dodge the monster's attacks. The monster will either do physical damage or elemental damage, and there'll be some stuff about attack nodes and arcs and all that sort of shit, which is the usual sort of fare for this type of thing, right? So once the monster is done moving and attacking, it will be the hunter's phase, yeah? You've got 2 options here. You can either have a combat turn or you can have a preparation turn. If you take a preparation turn, you can use a potion. You can sharpen your weapon if your attack deck has run out of cards. You can walk, which means that you can move 1 extra space on your turn, or you can sprint, which means that you can place extra attack cards face down for 1 movement each, right? So if you want to take a combat turn, this is where you're going to be doing over the monster, right? You can play an attack card or you can walk and sprint, which I've already explained to you. I ain't going for it again. So when you play an attack card, you'll place it on your player board in the next available space. You'll see that there may be a line running through the card. If you play an orange card, it's going to be the last card that you play on your turn. Yes, you've got to be very mindful of that, yeah? Each card has some shit on it you've got to pay attention to, yeah? So you've got the agility symbol, which will be used to dodge the monster's attacks and move during your turn. You've got the stamina bar. You've got the amount of damage cards that you draw when you inflict physical damage on a monster, the range of the weapon, and any other special rules and loads of other shit on the cards, right? When you attack the monster, you've got to pay attention to which monster arc you are in, because this determines which part of the monster you're going to attack, yeah? And when you do damage, you reduce the monster's health dial by that amount. There's 3 ways that the hunting turn can end, and that's if the monster's health has been reduced to 0, in which case you've done over the monster. If you have fainted 3 or more times, that's if your health goes down to 0. Remember that any armor that you are wearing or carrying will reduce the amount of damage that the monster does to you, right? So it's good to stock up on a bit of armor. And if you ever need to draw time cards, which is basically the clock of the game, and the deck is empty, then you're going to lose the game, right? So once you have done fighting a monster, you'll go into the HQ phase. This is where you'll be able to forge new equipment based on the rewards that you're going to get. Going to roll on a reward table. It's going to give you shit that you can then use to forge new equipment. Each player is going to be given a forge reference card that is unique to that character, and it's sort of like a tech tree sort of thing you'll be using to get new shit that will help you defeat more powerful monsters. So keep doing this. You'll keep moving and attacking, doing over monsters, going through the book, going to new locations, and once you have done the campaign, then you're going to be the winner of Monster Hunter World, the board game Ancient Forest. So what do we like about Monster Hunter World Ancient Forest? So the first thing that we like about this game is that the minis are absolutely fucking stunning. I mean, just look at the size of this fucking beast, yeah? It's bigger than my cock, even when I don't have an erection. The detail on this miniature, well, it's not even a fucking mini, is it's basically a garden gnome, you know what I mean? It's absolutely outstanding. They are really imposing. They've gone to town on this, and it just takes that sort of stuff that Cool Mini or Not were doing a few years ago, and it ramps it up to 11, yeah? Maybe it's gone a little bit too far, yeah? Maybe the miniatures in this game are a little bit too big for their boots. I'm not really a great lover of these miniature games, yeah, but when I opened the box, I couldn't believe how big this fucking thing was. It's like the size of a fucking rabid seagull, yeah? So yeah, the miniatures in this game are astounding. So the second thing that we really like about this is that the choose your own adventure elements separate it from previous incarnations of this type of game. If you think about Dark Souls, Sunless City, it was just a case of having a scrap, choosing a different monster to fight and doing that one over, and then rinse, wash, repeat. The way this differs is that it gives you more of a narrative element, yeah? It embellishes the game with an actual point as to what you're doing, yeah? You're not just blindly going onto the map, having a fight, and then thinking, well, what the fuck do I do that for? Somebody has actually gone to the trouble, actually writing a story for this. And I've never played the video game, but I would imagine that it probably ties in ever so slightly, yeah? I mean, if you played the video game, maybe you could tell me in the comments down there whether or not this game accurately reflects the video game, because I've no idea. So yeah, the choose your own adventure element, what with me being a big fan of fighting fantasy game books and all that sort of thing, was a welcome surprise when I opened the box. So the third thing that we really like about this game is that the leveling up system is an expansive part of this game, yeah? One whole phase at the end of the game is devoted to leveling up. Each character has a unique bunch of options when it comes to forging new shit, and that makes the game even better, because the more options you got in games like this, the better it's going to be in the long run when you're playing a lengthy campaign that can last for dozens of games, right? There is a sense of progression. You're going to start off with the bare bones, you're going to start off with basic armor, you're going to start off with basic weapons, and as you progress through the game, as you progress through the narrative, the choices that you make in the narrative portion of the game are going to have a huge impact on what you can achieve, not only when you're fighting, but when you level up in the third phase of the game, right? Don't we like about Monster Hunter World, the board game? So the first thing that we don't really like about this game is that, truth be told, there's not that much content in the box. The majority of space in that absolutely gargantuan box is taken up by that fucking garden gnome seagull. Once you have removed that behemoth from the box, you're just left with one board. You're left with a few decks of cards, a couple of tokens, and that is about it. If you didn't have those fantastic miniatures in there, this game would probably be a little bit light on content for my liking, especially for the price, because this goes for over 100 quid. So yeah, there's not really that much game in the box. I was a bit surprised to find that there's only 3 different monsters in here, I think, and only 4 different character classes. So whilst you are presented with a myriad of options when you are forging your new equipment, once you're done with that, there's not really that many places to go in terms of gameplay, right? So the second thing that we don't like about this game is that it's too similar to previous games that we played like this. I'm talking about Dark Souls, Sunless City. The node system is exactly the same. The card system is practically the same. You're just going to be moving and attacking, or attacking and moving, and the monster's going to be doing the same thing. Remove that narrative part of the game, you're just going to be moving around the map, attacking the monster and then leveling up. And I've done it all before, yeah? There's not really that much in this box to differentiate from games that I have played before. I didn't particularly like Dark Souls Sunless City. Got a bit boring. The aesthetic was a little bit dull. This one takes the framework of that game and adds to it, which means it's not as bad as that one, but even so, it just feels feels like I'm playing Dark Souls 1.5 or something like that, you know what I mean? So the final thing that we don't like about this game is that the move, attack, attack, move type thing gets really, really dull very quickly. And this leads on from the previous point, is that the fact that we've played all this sort of shit before means that it got stale very, very quickly, right? Especially if you weren't particularly enamoured with games like this that have come before. Don't think this one is going to tickle your ball bag to the point where you're going to do a bit of board game teabagging, you know what I mean? I found that going through the motions of playing a card, most of the time a card that you didn't really want to play, finding that it was a little bit lackluster but there's nothing else you could do, I found it a little bit frustrating. There wasn't really anything in this game that blew me away and made me think, yeah, fucking hell, this is different to the previous types of games I played. And that was a little bit disappointing. But to summarise, is Monster Hunter the board game Ancient Forest worth your time and bother today and in the future? So we're going to say maybe, maybe not. Monster Hunter World Ancient Forest is fine. It's perfectly playable. It's better than its older brother, Dark Souls, mainly because it adds that narrative element with the decision-making portion of the game when you're in the gathering phase. Yeah, if that hadn't been on there, it would have practically been a carbon copy of the shit that we played before. Once you are done with the narrative portion of the game, then we're back to familiar territory where you're just going to be moving around, playing a few cards that have got some icons on it, resolving the icons, and then doing that again and again and again until you die or the monster dies or you run out of time. And I found that to be slightly tedious, yeah? I'm not saying this is a bad game, it's just an average game, yeah? If you played stuff like this before, there's not really going to be anything new in this box, save for the narrative portion of the game, yeah? And for that reason, I think very carefully before spunking 100 quid out the wall on this beast. So there you go, that is Monster Hunter World, the board game. Remember, if you are new here, please consider subscribing to this channel, hit the like button and all that YouTube bullshit. We'll see you next time.